Welcome to the Cutting Edge AI podcast, where innovation meets imagination. Hosted by AI consultant and visionary Timothy Terry. This is where technology, creativity, and the future collide.
Welcome, everyone, to the very first episode of the Cutting Edge AI podcast. I'm Jonathan, and I'm here with Tim, and we're going to dive into all things AI. So, Tim, let's kick it off with that first question. What first inspired you to start exploring the world of AI?
Well, awesome. Well, super excited to do this first episode, and glad to be here. So, yes. So, what inspired me? So, Jonathan, my background has been graphic design. So, I was working on a flyer for one of my clients that's in California. And she said, "Well, Tim, can you put this together rather quickly? Because we do have a tight deadline." I said, "No problem." And Jonathan, when she sent me that picture, you always know those photos that people are able to just get off of Facebook and they're kind of cropped, looking kind of funny. One of the arms is missing or a leg is missing. It's just a bad crop. So I said, "Okay, no problem. I'll do it." But I'm going to have to work on the image because when it comes to my graphic design, Cenote Media marketing agency, we want to put our best foot forward. So I ended up leveraging AI to get the best picture. Now, not only was I able to get a good picture, but I was able to change her hairstyle and also her clothing attire to put it in more of a bishop type clergy or clergy attire, if you will. So when I saw that was kind of eye opening. I said to myself, there's something there. I need to start leveraging this more. And when she saw the final result, she was amazed. So that kind of sparked my curiosity.
That's such a great story, Tim. And I love how that moment of turning a tricky photo into something polished really opened the door. It's amazing how AI can just transform creative work like that and spark that curiosity. So it sounds like that was the first spark for you, and here we are.
Yes. And Jonathan, let me ask you this, since we're just kind of going back and forth here. So what are your thoughts on AI and how AI can be leveraged for people, and also how it's moving so fast in this days in this time and space that we're in, and how do you see it moving forward and helping people, individuals, businesses, things like that?
Absolutely, Tim. And that's a great question. I think what's really incredible about AI is just how quickly it's becoming a tool that levels the playing field. Like in your story, it's not just these giant tech companies anymore. It's individual creators, small businesses, entrepreneurs who can take AI and suddenly do things they couldn't do before, like transform an image a minute or automate a piece of their business. And looking forward, I think it's just going to keep getting more accessible and more intuitive. We're going to see AI helping individuals and businesses personalize customer experiences, streamline their workflows, and just do things a lot more creatively and efficiently. So It's an exciting.
I'm with you on that.
Absolutely, Tim. And I think that's a perfect way to look at it. It's definitely an exciting journey ahead, and we're just at the beginning. So let's keep this conversation going and dive into the next question.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, let's keep rolling then. So for our next question, let's talk a bit about the future. What's one really cool way you think AI is going to help small businesses in the next few years?
Another great question, Jonathan. So I would say what I'm seeing is being able to leverage awesome customer service. And what I mean by that is in this day and time with AI, there should be no reason that each business, whether it's a mom and pizza shop or a mechanic shop or a Fortune 500 company, they should all have that same level of, I want to say, Ritz-Carlton customer service. And what I mean by that is with AI, you can leverage having a customer service bot, whether you're using certain softwares out there. One is called 11 Labs. That's one of the premier ones. And then you have also other similar type of softwares that are out there that are able to use human voices and to clone your voice. So how does that work in the business? So every time someone calls on your business, they're greeted by a warm professional, knowledgeable person that can answer any question, and not only answer any question, but if they need to, if the software needs to follow up by sending an email, sending a text reminder, things like that. All those things are possible now with leveraging AI.
Absolutely. And I think that's such a fantastic vision, Tim. It really is an idea of making that risk crossing level of service scalable to even the smallest business. And like you said, having a warm, friendly AI powered voice that can handle those interactions really makes a difference. So I love that vision. And I think that's a perfect note for our listeners to think about how AI can just elevate that customer experience.
Absolutely. And that's just one area.
Exactly, Tim. And that's just scratching the surface of one area. There's just so many possibilities out there. So I think that's a perfect insight to share on this first episode. And with that, I think we're off to a fantastic start.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely, Tim. It's been a blast kicking off this conversation with you. I think we got a really nice flow going, and this is going to set a great tone for the rest of the episode. So let's keep it up and have some fun with it.
Yes, let's do that, Jonathan. What else you got for me?
All right, Tim, let's keep rolling. So here's another easy one for you. If someone brand new to AI is listening and maybe they're a little bit intimidated, what's one myth about AI that you love to just bust for them right away?
That you don't have to be an expert in prompt engineering. And what I mean by that is the easiest way, using all of these different language learning models, or LLMs as we call it in the business. One major thing that you can do that's going to make life so much easier is just doing a what we call a brain dump. And I was speaking with an individual a few days ago, and he was telling me, he said, Tim, I have this idea for a book that I've been waiting, and it's the same story for so many different people. They when it comes to content writing, or writing a book, or writing a novel, writing their life story, it doesn't have to be, number one, it's possible, and number two, you're able to do that utilizing softwares like ChatGPT. And what I mean by doing a brain dump is that use the when you go onto ChatGPT, you can click on there's a certain area within the app that you can click on that you're able to speak to it like I'm speaking to you. And so when you do that, you just start riffing off on the ideas of what you want your book to be like, how you want it to sound, how many chapters, things like that. And a way that you can get around it sounding like AI is, first of all, starting with, I would say, number one, asking ChatGPT to set up a bio. That's if you don't already have a bio of yourself. And have it ask several key questions that you and ChatGPT come up with, that you're able to form something that's about your life story that you can then use to build your character within ChatGPT, so that once it understands that information, it's able to more tailor, if you will, that book to you and your personal experience, your life story, things like that. So you don't have to be an expert in prompt engineering. So that's a myth. Hopefully I've been able to bust that myth.
Absolutely, Tim. And you definitely busted that myth wide open. I think that's such a great point for anyone listening. You don't have to be a tech wizard or prompt engineer to get started. Just doing that brain dump and letting the AI help shape your ideas is a perfect way to jump in. So I think that's a fantastic note for our listeners, and it really makes AI a lot more approachable. Thanks for sharing that.
No problem. Thanks for the great questions. So let me ask you this, Jonathan. So with that being said, when it comes to um, other things that you see that might make it easier for people wanting to leverage AI, what are your thoughts on, I think at the end of the day, it's all about simplicity.
Absolutely, Tim. And I couldn't agree more. I think simplicity is the key that unlocks the door for so many people. One of the things I always suggest is starting with really user-friendly tools. Like you mentioned, if you can speak to an AI and just have a conversation, that already takes away a lot of the complexity. Another tip is just focusing on one small use case at a time. You don't have to tackle everything at once. Just pick one thing where you think AI might help you and let it be simple. Let it be a tool that you learn step by step. So absolutely simplicity is the name of the game. And I think that's what makes AI so much more approachable.
I'm definitely in agreement with you on that.
Yeah, absolutely, Kim. It's all about making it simple and approachable. And I think with that mindset, a lot of people are going to feel a lot more comfortable jumping in. So, yeah, I think we've covered some great ground in this first episode. Thanks for sharing all your insights.
No problem. So, what other questions might you do you have for me?
Absolutely, Tim. Let's keep it rolling. So, another question I toss your way is what's one piece of advice you get to someone who's just starting out with AI and maybe feeling a little intimidated? Just something to help them feel confident that they can do it.
Just start with baby steps. Um, we use a framework when it comes to prompting because that's the starting point. Is I would say if you have the right question, you get the right answer. If you have the right question, you get the right output. So try to be as specific as you can and use what we call the TADA, like TADA, TADA framework, which stands for to train. So training the language learning model like ChatGPT. So you have TADA, so that's train, and then you ask. And then once you ask the question, if it doesn't give you that right output, even if it does, you want to go into the next letter, which is dig. So you have train, ask, dig. You're digging for even better answers. Well, how can we build? And another question would be, how can once it gives you that output, how can we build upon that question that you put her? How can we add to that, or how can we turn this into a mega prompt? Things like that. And then from there, you have the T, the TADA, TAD, and then you have another one which is ask again, and then you want to assemble. So whatever it gives you, when it gives you that output, you want to be able to assemble all that information so that you're able to utilize it. So there you go.
I love that, Tim. That Tada framework is such a simple, memorable way to approach it. Just train, ask, dig a little deeper, ask again, and then assemble. That's a perfect baby steps approach for anyone getting started. So I think that's a great note to leave our listeners with. And yeah, let's just keep it simple and let them know they can do it. Thanks for sharing that.
No problem. And when it comes to AI, what are some areas that you think that might be simple uses? Because I know obviously you can use AI for social media, things like that. Not only social media, but customer service, automation. That's another big area. What other things that you can think of that might be useful for our listeners?
And absolutely, Tim. I think you're spot on with those big ones. And a few other simple uses that come to mind. One is content creation. You know, if someone's just looking to draft blog posts or come up with email newsletters, AI can really simplify that process. Another fun one is brainstorming. If you're just stuck on an idea and you want to bounce ideas off of an AI, it's a really easy way to get started. And of course, even things like scheduling or just managing little everyday tasks, AI can take a lot of that off your plate. So lots of simple ways to use it. And I think that'll give our listeners some inspiration.
Sounds like a winning plan. Well, let's we're almost about to hit that mark for our time. So hit me with one more question that might be useful to some of our listeners, Jonathan.
Absolutely, Tim. Let's wrap it up with one more. So here's a nice final question. For someone just starting out, what's one small, fun AI experiment they could try this week just to dip their toes in, and we'll send them off with that.
All right, great question. So let's see. I want to go with using the camera that's on your phone. So I would say nice, cool thing to do would be obviously starting with ChatGPT, clicking on the photo portion where you're able to take a photo, open your refrigerator, take a few photos of what you have inside of there, whether it's in your refrigerator, the freezer, wherever, it doesn't matter. And then going into your cupboard and taking some pictures of what you have in your cupboard, maybe boxes of rice, some canned goods, things like that. Then what I want you to do is ask the question in ChatGPT, what can I make with the photos that I sent you? And the cool part is ChatGPT will able to see the images that you have and be able to formulate a meal that you can use. And if you want to use the Tada framework that we're talking about previously, you can use it in that instance. And what I mean by that is ask a little bit more, dig a little bit more. Say, hey, I have a dinner date or I have a business meeting over my house with 5 people, 3 adults, 2 kids. What can I make? Then take it maybe even a step further. One of them is allergic to this or allergic to that. Are they required that they can only eat gluten? That the meal has to be gluten free. Things like that. So you can use that and see what output it gives you. You will be amazed.
I absolutely love that idea, Tim. That's such a fun little experiment, and it's a great way for listeners to just see AI in action in a really practical, everyday way. So that's a perfect final tip to send them off with. And yeah, they'll definitely be amazed at what comes out of it. Thanks for sharing that.
Well, Jonathan, it has been such a pleasure. Thank you for the great questions. I had an amazing time.
Absolutely, Tim. The pleasure was all mine. I had a fantastic time too, and I think we made a really great first episode. Thanks for having this conversation with me, and I can't wait to see where you take the podcast next.
Well, to be continued.
Absolutely. To be continued, it is. I'm looking forward to the next round whenever you're ready, and we'll keep the momentum going.
Awesome.
Thanks
Well,
again.
you're quite welcome. And thanks again for your time, Jonathan. It's been a pleasure. Bye-bye for now.
You're so welcome, Tim. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. And so next time, bye for now and take care.